Hey everyone, I'm Shadow DTV, and today we're going to go through a review of Motive Studios' Star Wars Squadrons. As most of you know, Star Wars Squadrons was announced in June of 2020. This game has been heavily anticipated by flight sim enthusiasts and Star Wars fans alike. Now that the game is out, I'm going to go through my review of Star Wars Squadrons to help you decide if this game is right for you. Make sure you like the video. If you're into live streaming, gaming, technology, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Alright, let's get into my review of Star Wars Squadrons. Star Wars Squadrons was initially announced on June 15th, 2020 with a revealed trailer. It would take just over 3 months from this announcement for the game's full release on the 2nd of October 2020. Star Wars Squadrons is a space combat game set in the Star Wars universe, developed by Motive Studios and published by Electronic Arts. The game is available on Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. The game features both multiplayer game modes and a single-player campaign. The game is set after the Return of the Jedi. The campaign alternates between New Republic's Vanguard Squadron and the Galactic Empire's Titan Squadron. The storyline centers around the Republic Project Starhawk. The Vanguard Squadron wants to ensure that it is completed, while the Titan Squadron is attempting to destroy it. Now, Star Wars Squadrons is the first dedicated Star Wars space combat game since Rogue Squadron 3, which came out all the way back in 2004 on the Nintendo GameCube. And sure, we've seen arcade iterations of space combat in the Star Wars universe, but nothing that you can sit on the couch and play like Star Wars Squadrons. Something usually considered as an afterthought in recent Star Wars games, which we've seen showcased in Battlefront 2's lackluster space combat. It's amazing that it has taken almost 2 decades for a dedicated, full-featured Star Wars space combat game to arrive, seeing as there's always been constant demand from flight sim fans and Star Wars fans alike. Star Wars has always known that space combat is a loved and cherished part of the Star Wars universe, and have replicated this experience in game form multiple times. Originally with the Atari Star Wars arcade game that was released in 1983. After that, we had X-Wing on PC-DOS in 1993, and then the popular Rogue Squadron series, which created 3 titles. After a dozen space games have been developed by LucasArts, everything suddenly came to a halt. LucasArts downsized significantly, and eventually the studio was suffering from financial stress. This is where Electronic Arts comes into the picture. Although their practices have been heavily criticized by gamers due to the heavy inclusion of microtransactions in their games, we can thank them for keeping the Star Wars gaming titles alive and continuing to bring the Star Wars universe into the hands of us gamers. Sadly, the amount of cancelled Star Wars titles outnumbers the completed ones in the first few years of this partnership. Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2 were the first 2 titles, which were also heavily criticized for the use of microtransactions. Their more recent game, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, received great reviews and showed that EA can make great Star Wars games. Now we have Star Wars Squadrons, developed by the EA-owned Motive Studios. It is a single-player online multiplayer title that embodies the thrill of flying in a Republic X-Wing, or if you are so inclined, what I call evil! You can fly for the Galactic Empire in an Imperial TIE Fighter. Whichever side you prefer, you will actually get the chance to fly for both sides of the war throughout the 14-mission single-player storyline. This storyline should take you about 8 to 10 hours to complete. The story is well written and engaging, and takes place after Return of the Jedi. Yet, it feels and acts as more of an extended tutorial to prepare you for multiplayer by easing you into the game mechanics and slowly opening up your customization options. Now, the real meat of the game is in its multiplayer game modes. You will be able to fly for both sides in 5v5 dogfights, which act as like a team deathmatch style game mode, as well as 5v5 fleet battles. This pits you against real players while having to complete objectives and destroying the opponent's fleet ships to claim victory. The single-player storyline is broken up into different missions that start with a briefing on the mission, and then the ability to talk to a few NPCs in the hangar before beginning the mission and jumping into the cockpit. These interactions are nice, but don't progress the game other than giving you some more insight to the characters and the scenarios. Once you're in the cockpit, things start to get serious. Star Wars Squadrons has a bit of a learning curve, but the solo mode will help ease you into this. You need to learn to manage power between your thrusters, weapons, and shields, and it can be a balancing act at times. You'll be required to switch between these while maneuvering and also targeting enemies. It can be a lot at first, but by the midway point in the storyline, you will begin to feel comfortable enough to take your experience into the online arena. Don't expect to load up and start taking out real players online instantly. Micromanaging your ship's abilities through the use of your ship's instruments is an art, but it will improve over time. If you want a really immersive experience, this game is completely playable in virtual reality and with a HOTAS flight controller. This setup is where the game really shines and allows you to maneuver your player vision within the cockpit, a feat that is much more difficult without the use of VR. A HOTAS controller is completely mappable in-game and extremely enhances the flight experience. If you don't have a virtual reality headset or a HOTAS flight controller, don't fret, the game is completely playable on mouse and keyboard and with a console controller, and is just as enjoyable in my opinion. Even though the game is heavily focused on multiplayer, I highly suggest playing through the solo storyline as it will make you well prepared for the online experience by its end. The reason I suggest playing through the storyline is that there are 4 different classes of ship, with each side having its own versions of those 4 ships. This means you'll need to learn how to fly 8 different ships. The first important thing you will realize is that the Republic and Imperial ships have one major important difference. All Republic ships have shields, while 3 of the 4 Imperial ships do not have shields. The only Imperial ship that has shields is the support ship. You may think that this puts the Imperial ships at a disadvantage, but instead of having access to diverting power to front and rear shields like a Republic ship can, Imperial ships can quickly divert power to thrusters or weapons for a huge instant boost, which Republic counterparts cannot keep up with. In short, Republic ships have shields and therefore more integrity, but Imperial ships can be extremely versatile and can more than make up for their lack of shields with their pure firepower and speed capabilities. Now we're going to go through the 8 different ships that you can fly in Star Wars Squadrons. On the Republic side, we have the T-65 X-Wing Starfighter, which is an all-round ship, a BTL Y-Wing Bomber, which as the name suggests is a bombing ship, the RZ-1 A-Wing Interceptor, a fast and maneuverable ship which sacrifices hull integrity for speed, and the UT-60D U-Wing Support Craft, with the ability to resupply allies and mark enemies to weaken their hull integrity. And from the Imperial hangar, you'll be able to fly the TIE Fighter, which is the equivalent of the X-Wing for the Republic, a TIE Bomber, which is the equivalent of the Y-Wing Bomber, a TIE Interceptor, which is the equivalent of A-Wing Interceptor, and the TIE Reaper, which would be the equivalent of a U-Wing support craft. Everyone, let me know in the comment section down below if you're Team New Republic or Team Galactic Empire. Although the Republic and the Imperial ships share classes, they do have slightly different customization options, which we will get into in a moment. While these classes tailor your experience, each ship can be modified with the customization options. You can change the lasers, auxiliaries, countermeasures, your hull, thrusters, and shields. You can use these customization options to enhance the ship's strengths, or you can use it to counter their weaknesses. Here we'll take a quick look at some of the options in a standard X-Wing and a TIE Fighter. Each ship has different customization options, and for the sake of this review length, I'm not going to go through all of them. Do note that the support ships have some unique options, like resupplying ships and marking enemies to expose their hull integrity. This allows you to play a dedicated support role, keep your teammates stocked up, while exposing the enemies for your teammates to take down. Alright, so we're going to take a look at some of the customization options. So this is the main menu, we go customization. So you can customize your ship's abilities, you can customize the look of your ship, and you can also customize the look of your pilot. So we're going to take a look at the Starfighter customization. So we'll look at the X-Wing. So as you can see, you can change the cannon that you're using. So you've got a standard laser cannon, ion cannons. They're strong against shields, but not as strong against the hull. So you have a bunch of options there. Your left auxiliary, you have an astromech to repair. Then you have concussion missiles, you have assault shields, you have ion missiles, torpedoes, rockets. So you have a left and a right, so you can choose, you've got the same options for both. So you can have 2 of these in your kit. Then you have countermeasures to counter missiles coming at you. So you've got 3 options there. You can change the hull. So as you can see, these all change the stats of the vehicle. So you've got, this lowers your max health, but you're harder to target from you can't be targeted from long range. So all of these have different options. Then you've got your shields. So you've got different options again for your shields. So you can really kit out your ships for specific roles, or you can, you can try and boost its strengths, or, strengthen up at the weaknesses of the ship. So you have a bunch of options here. The micro thruster slows down your max speed but makes it easier to turn. And then for customization options, you've got, so here you can put some different decals on here. Then we've got some more decals here. So you've got a bunch of different options there. Then inside the vehicle, inside the cockpit, you can have holograms. So I've got a hologram there. You can have little bobblehead style things on the dashboard. So I've got a little pod racer toy. And then you can even have little trinkets in the cockpit as well. Very similar at the Imperial hangar. You can customize your starfighter. So we'll have a look at a TIE. Now all of these are almost identical to the X-Wing. They do have different names because it's a different ship, but they are essentially identical. One thing you will notice is that there is no shields, and that is because the TIE fighters don't have shields. Apart from that, though, they are identical in the options for the kit. And then you're going to have your different decals. They're obviously going to be different to the X-Wing and the New Republic ships. You got the holograms inside the ship. So you've got a bunch of different options there. Again, you got the, instead of bobbleheads, you've got these little things in the top right. Obviously, there's nowhere to actually sit a bobblehead in a TIE fighter. And then you've also got some hanging flare as well. So that's all the ship customization. The only other customization in-game is your pilot. So we can customize our pilot. You can change the look of them. So there's a few default looks. There isn't a whole lot of customization options that you'd find in, a RPG. You can choose your helmet. You can choose your body type. Choose your flight suit. You've got your tops, bottoms, gloves. You've got emotes, so you can use these emotes in the lobby when you're waiting for the match to start in multiplayer. You've got your victory pose, so when you complete a match, how they're going to look. And then you've got their voice lines. So that's it for all of the customization in Star Wars Squadrons. A welcome addition to Squadrons is crossplay from day one. The game's style doesn't give any particular party an advantage, as we've seen with other games like first-person shooters. So if you're playing on PC or console, it's an even battlefield in multiplayer. Now, most PC players are going to opt for a controller of some sort, if that's a HOTAS or a console-style controller. You can play on mouse and keyboard, but personally I prefer to have a controller in hand. Now you might be thinking to yourself, this game looks great, I'm going to buy it. And yes, it is a ton of fun and has enough depth and strategy to warrant playing with a team and coordinating together with your friends. Sadly, this is as good as it gets. A campaign, 2 multiplayer modes and 6 multiplayer maps. EA Games have stated that the game's low price point more than justifies the content and have no plans to add any free or paid DLC, or any new maps or game modes. A culmination of things such as the lack of microtransactions, the decline of interest in flight sims recently, and the complexity of the game, which likely limits its player base, means this game after release holds no further revenue opportunities for EA. This decision doesn't surprise me at all, but it's still a bit of a letdown. If you enjoy flight sims and are a fan of Star Wars, know that this game offers enough content and complexity to enjoy for a while, but not forever. I hope you enjoyed my review of Star Wars Squadrons. I hope this video helped you decide if the game is right for you. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any content. Next time, we're going to be going through Far Cry 6. So this is an upcoming title in 2021. We're going to go through what we know about the game. So I'll see you then. Again, I'm Shadow DTV. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.